If you're looking for more business, I encourage you all to try cold calling. That'll motivate you not to do it. Right? And let's get the camera on that because it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to watch you just about throw up because I've been there. I've done cold calling where I've actually crawled underneath the table and go, oh, there has to be a better way to die than do this. So cold calling is like getting a telemarketer to phone you. And we know that they phone at what time? Dinner time. And they don't eat, and they are persistent, annoying, and rude, pushy, right? You see, not a single one of us want to be viewed as that when we get into the place where we're talking with a client. That's why cold calling don't work. So now, how do you find a client? Networking, dance cards, bumping into them at bars, right? We've got a few different things we can do to find people because they're everywhere we go. I want to let you know that if you have a hard time bumping into folks, we're going to talk about that today. I'm also going to talk to you about the sales pitch a little bit. And this all comes from a program that I've called Sales Ability that'll be launching this year. And it's the art of actually making a sale with good old-fashioned customer service. And here's how it goes. We all have to bump into people at different points in time, but we all got to make the pitch. Most of us know how to pitch our product, right? I got something, I want to tell you how great it is. How many people would feel comfortable enough to talk to somebody that would be interested in your product and tell them all about the good benefits that they could get? Sure. Right? That's something we're pretty comfortable with, and there's some tweaking we can do with that. But I offer this service, it gives you this emotional benefit, life is good. We call those features, advantages, and benefits. If you don't know what those are, please write those down. Features are nothing more than the stuff of. I've got this list of goodies, right? The advantage to you is, this is what it does. It does all that for you. My car has a steering wheel, so I can drive on the road, right? Pretty basic. The benefit is the emotional gain that people get from it, and that's the thing we want to make sure that everybody's doing. Today, we're going to take a step backwards from that and say, okay, after you've got the pitch figured out, you have to get talking to the right people. And the only way you can do it is by talking to the right people. You're going to talk to a lot of people and you're going to prospect, if you will, and kind of feel them all out because they could be suspects. They might be interested, they may not be interested. You're not really sure. But what can you do to help them understand what it is you can bring them? Because before you pitch, think about it. You walk into a place, hi, my name's Rich Groff. You want to get some sales training? Sure. See, does that feel right to you? Doesn't feel right, does it? So we got to have something before that. We call that a discovery. In the discovery, you will actually have some questions that will start to, if you will, see a little bit and find out if people are interested in possibly being talked to about your service. Now, what kind of questions can you ask? We've had a number of people here in the health and wellness business, right? Carol? Cindy, pardon me? Cindy's in the health and wellness business. So when you talk to people, if you don't mind me using you a little bit and helping you out here, you're going to have to ask some questions. So if you ask a question like, hey, are you interested in getting better in health? That could be one level of question, right? But before even that, you have to find out if there's anything that they're even suffering with. So great question for this last year, because we all had a little bit of flu at the Christmas holidays, right? And you could look at them and say, hey, how was your Christmas? This is a nice conversation, very gentle, very easy. They're going to go, great, fantastic. Were you one of those individuals that actually made it through the Christmas without having any illness in your family, or did you find that your family got hit too? Now if they say, oh, it was awful. And this is my story. We were lying in bed on the 24th and didn't have any, in 3 days of sleeping. I told the kids you had to eat soup. It's true, right? If you have a pre-leading question, it's the big question that kind of narrows it down before you even get close to even offering the service or the product that you may have, right? So you have to have something that's going to get them thinking, and it needs to be a nice open-ended question that they cannot answer yes or no. Signage. Have you ever thought about getting more business? Right? Absolutely. That would be a perfect question. Have you ever noticed that sometimes that you're seeing big signs on vehicles? Right? What would it be like if you had a large sign that you could drive around and get all kinds of clients around the entire city and helps you makes your little business look a lot bigger than it really is? Would that be an advantage to you? Would you like people to think that you're really prosperous so that you can attract more clients? Because people want to work with somebody who's successful, right? We all have to have those little leading questions. I've given you a sheet here that comes out of one of my manuals, one of the programs, and we're talking about typical client questions. This is an entire form that you could fill out. If you have never done this type of work, you will want to make sure that you actually fill out this type of form because it talks about your ideal client, it talks about your slogan, how you get people's attention. It's all about the discovery when you're just first meeting someone. It's that elevator speech where you say something that gets people's attention. Now imagine me, I'm a sales coach, right? And I got a little bit of a crazy kind of a humor thing going on. So if I meet somebody in a sales environment, it's different. But if I'm actually in an elevator, literally in an elevator, and somebody says, hey, how you doing? Great. Oh, the weather is fantastic. What you doing? Well, I'm going to seminar, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Oh, really? What is it you do for a living? People get curious if you leave them enough room to get curious. And they're going to go, oh, you're a sales coach. I go, yeah, I help people make ridiculous amounts of money in a short period of time with no extra effort. It's awesome. I got the easiest job in the world. Like, it doesn't get any better than this. And I can't believe I get paid this much. It's just fun. And they go, really? Yeah, I've got a lot of my clients that double their income in a year. It's awesome. Really? Are you serious? Man, give me your card. You know you've done it right when they say, please give me your card. Right? When was the last time somebody said, give me your card? 10 minutes. Mike knows what's going on here, okay? Mike does know how to do sales. But that's what you want. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have the clients coming to you asking for your service rather than you chasing and hunting them down? It is not fun to chase somebody because if you've ever noticed this way back in grade school, grade 6 and grade 7, when the boys started chasing the girls did what? They ran. They ran faster because they were bigger too. And then nowadays that's a different story. So when I'm talking to my sons, I'm teaching them something different. Run from the girls, right? Because it's a different game. But it's the old thing of the law of attraction and chasing. If you're chasing something, you gotta know it's gonna go the other way. It's just gonna happen. If you're naturally available and ready for something, you're gonna get it. So where do you find these things? Where do you find the opportunities? Because you're not gonna pick up the phone. Cold calling works, by the way. It does work, but not really well. Like you're gonna have to dial about a bazillion phones, your finger, oh sorry, that's an old thing, dialing. Just for the people in the video that are under 40, we used to have phones with holes in the, that we would put our finger in and it would move, right? Nowadays, none of that happens, right? But when really, I'm aging myself. But the bottom line is that you have to find people. So where do you find people? Because you're not gonna cold call people that you don't know. Now, if it's a warm lead or somebody says, there's that company over there, they probably, I just was talking to the owner, a little bit different, right? Now it becomes somewhat warm. You want to do a lot of that. So here's some options for you. Number one, the first thing you can do is you can be normal and have a life. Number one, be normal, normal and have a life. I have got clients right now that their marketing plan includes the walking of the dog. And that is one of their revenue streams, walking dog. So when you make $60,000 a year walking your dog, you put it in your business plan. Now, how does that work? People with like interests actually will talk to you. So you're walking your dog, and you're in the park where the dogs walk in downtown Toronto. And there are people walking dogs. So you bump into people with common interest, and automatically you have a natural connection with that individual. Have you ever noticed that? If you've ever had family members or kids or something that are in a sport and you go to the sports playing, you already got the connection with those folks. If you're a part of an association where people have certain beliefs and values and structures, you're already connected kind of already, and then it's about how you work that out. And then from there, because people like to work with people that they work, or like and naturally know, and you have common interest with, you start having a conversation and it's really relaxed. There's no hunt going on here. It's like, hi, what do you do for, oh, I do this for the month. What do you do? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Chitter chatter, chitter chatter. Oh, really? Well, you know what? We might be needing your services in the future. Give me your card. Dog walking. Now, I would have not believed that probably 10 years ago, that you could make $60,000 a year from one revenue stream by walking your dog daily. How many people would have thought that would have been a first choice? Honestly, right? But honestly, if you get around people with like interests, they're going to have a natural connection to who you are. Now, this requires effort. You will have to have a life. You will have to get out of your house, and you will have to do something that you normally do. I have another client that turns around and goes grocery shopping. Oh my goodness, what a radical concept. Grocery shopping, and they actually bump into people at the grocery store all the time because they are having fun, they're just making it light, they're making it easy, they're approachable, and people walk up to them and say the darndest things. Nice melons. Really, right? I mean, and it starts a conversation, you have a laugh, and you get going, and before you know it, you're passing on a card or two, and another $15,000 or $20,000 worth of business can come from just random contexts, but they're not random. So think about your last number of weeks. We've just gone through a holiday season. And how many of us have actually got to the place where we actually looked at every time that we went out as an opportunity to bump into some people? Right? Okay? Have you noticed that I'm wearing a suit? Right? If I go in my sweats to wherever, and I don't have my hair cleaned and, you know, shaven and all that kind of stuff, and I look like this, what does that tell people if they bump into me? You have to be prepared for those chance meetings because they happen all the time, right? If you're a fitness instructor, you're in sweats, and you will want to look your job, right? You will want to look your, really, you will. Because they know, oh yeah, of course you are. And you must be quite successful because you're just coming from, yeah, okay, it makes sense. So you want to dress the part.
But everybody looks like they're going to the gym these days.
They all are, aren't they? My kids are homeschooled, so we have to negotiate with them to get them out of their pajama sweats so that they will actually put on real life clothes because they're like, why do we have to? Because that's the way it works. Right? We want you to actually know what it feels like to dress accordingly and have a habit of doing dressing. So you have to have the same kind of habits. You have to have a habit that gets you ready to go out and wait for opportunity. You have to know that opportunities will come, and you have to take that opportunity and seize the opportunity in the lifetime of the opportunity. If you've got 30 seconds to make an impression, everything counts. And it could be the biggest deal that you've ever done. So let me tell on myself, because I'm a bad example. I'm a good bad example. I actually had an opportunity where I was going to get a babysitter so my wife and I could go on a date night. It was awesome. However, our babysitter had actually not been able to do so, so she had actually got a friend to sub in. So I am coming out of my work mode from working on my house. I've got dirty old blue jeans on and a tore up shirt, right? Because I haven't changed or gotten ready yet to go outside. And so I go to pick up this young lady, and I walk through the door of this beautiful house, not quite a mansion, but pretty close, talk to the individual that's there, and all of a sudden this gentleman comes out and he goes, hey, what do you do for a living? I go, I'm a sales coach. He's looking at me and go, yeah, really? And I go, yeah, I guess. Right? This gentleman actually owned a sales company that was an extremely, what I would call high-end auto dealer. And he trained salespeople, and he would have actually had me come in. He said, yeah, call me. And I walked out of there going, I can't even call him. He wouldn't even recognize me, right? Because that's how it felt. I missed the opportunity. I had 10 seconds to make an impression, and because I knew I wasn't looking and playing the part, I wasn't thinking that I was going to find business going to get a babysitter, but I missed probably a $10,000 or $20,000 opportunity. Every day, you go out and you do things. You pump the gas in your car, you go and get food, you walk your dog, you attend activities after hours, you have some passions that you're involved in, and you have to be ready to turn around and seize the opportunities. So on your paper, you need to write down a couple things. In that first area there, right in here where it says typical client questions. We are looking for those gentle nudges that you can find out if you've got any interest on the other side of the fence of the person that you're talking to. What are those simple things that you could say that would start a conversation and gently find out if there's some form of interest? Right? Who's got some ideas? This is a tough one. Don't drive naked. But again, that's a statement, yes. However, we're looking for, a slogan, we're looking for those little questions. Karen, what would you say? You're a money coach. Sorry?
Well, right now I'm asked about holidays and then about the January employees.
Right. So they talk about their holiday, how are your holidays? Fantastic. Have you hit your January blues? Like most of us do, like when the credit card finally comes in and you kind of try and avoid it, or maybe you even hide it from your spouse. Have you done that one yet? Right? And you poke some fun at life, or you turn around and do it your way, but little gentle nudges to see if any of this applies to them. Now, honestly, if you're a money coach and you have a client or somebody sitting in front of you that you're having an idle chit-chat and you're at the grocery store and they say, no, we do all our planning a year in advance, we manage our budget, and it's down to the penny, we know what we're doing. Is that a possible client? Yeah, possibly, but you go, oh, high five, I'm a money coach. You just said the miracle words. Can I use you as an example? Right? And you still take the conversation on because they might be people that know someone else. So what are your lead-in questions? How many people have lead-in questions they've written down? Some people are writing, some people are really confused. Hi.
If they made any resolutions this year?
Yeah. So you could be that really kind of, hey, what are your resolutions this year? Everybody makes them, what's yours? Right? Have you hit the top 3, which are money, marriage, and workout, right? Have you hit the top 3? And they go, yeah, I want to, we want to have a little bit better family life. Yeah, the workout thing, I've totally given up on the workout thing. Right? I'm actually quoting a client. Right? It's exactly how it goes. Told you I was going to spit in this little conversation here. You need to have something that's broad that you can talk to your client, potential client, prospect about. If you don't, you're going to jump in or you're going to have a hole. And so it's kind of like this. Hey, how you doing? Really nice products in the store. Great. Would you like to buy my stuff? Just doesn't flow, does it? Right? So you got to nurture the conversation with curiosity. So you're going to throw out something we call a little bit of a hook. And if you know your ideal client, what your clients are like, you're going to probably have some idea what it is that interests them. And you can hook them. Right? Every fish has a different thing that they like to eat. So you're going to have the same thing with your client. So sales clients. Would I walk up to somebody who's a mother with 3 kids and pitch my product? Not unless I'm talking about how she can get her kids to do something. Right? Way different type of approach. So you have to do a little qualification, find out a little bit more about them. But she might know somebody who is like the fellow I talked about that's at a high-end auto dealer, and he brings in salespeople and speakers all the time for me. Do you know what I mean? So you got to turn around and just kind of carry the conversation, but you're trying to make a new friend every day. Because that new person that you bump into, when you build that relationship, they know how many people? Hundreds. You don't know if you've got a cheerleader standing right in front of you that can bring you 10 new clients this year. You really don't. So what are your leading questions? Who has something on their page?
Depends on my demographic, because let's face it, I'm in food and everybody eats, so it depends on
Okay.
the age. But if it's a typical working family with kids, often I can say, do your kids end up eating a box of crackers before you even get home from work and start making dinner?
So time out. Love that. So see what she's done. She's asked a very specific question. So what I would do is I would tone that down. You've asked a yes or no question. When you answer or give out a question that comes with yes or no on it, know that 99% of the time they're going to say no because they feel they're being sold to, right? So don't even bother to ask that question. Either make a statement and then give an open-ended question, right? So it could be something along the lines of, today there's a lot of things changing in the way that people are actually helping their kids get the nutrition they need. What kind of things have you noticed? It's a conversation. Have a conversation. And if they go, wow, we've been kind of wondering about all this packaged food and how many ears my kids are going to grow over the next 5 years because they got all this processed stuff inside of them. So, and it's really hard to get good quality stuff. So how are we going to do? How do you read this label? Look at the labels. I can't read all this stuff. Got to be a chemist to figure that out, right? And you go, well, actually, do you ever do any kind of barbecue? And it's, oh, we love the barbecue. Great. You ever wonder what makes all that spicy stuff spicy? Yep. Hey, well, I got the crazy thing for you. See? And there's that whole lead-in. But it's the question that you ask in that moment that makes a radical difference. So here's the thing for 2013. If you're looking for more business, I encourage you all to try cold calling. That'll motivate you not to do it. Right? And let's get the camera on that because it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to watch you just about throw up because I've been there. I've done cold calling where I've actually crawled underneath the table and go, oh, there has to be a better way to die than do this. Right? And so you're looking for opportunities, right? You're looking for those opportunities everywhere you go. So look for them. Make them up if you have to. When I started out in business, I had to make up opportunities because I didn't know anybody. I was a complete introvert. I didn't talk to people. That was like, oh, you got to be joking. That means I have to really be in somebody's face. I didn't even know how to carry on a conversation. What I did though is I said, I'm going to go where people are. Okay, so I'm going to go to the local rink. I'm going to go to the local pool. I'm going to go to a recreation center. I'm going to go to a place of business and just bump into people as I'm just browsing around. I went purposely to practice the skill of seeding conversations, trying to get people to engage in conversation. Now, how many people would be willing to actually try that as a skill? Right? Seriously, the challenge is on, okay? That means this next week, the next week to 10 days before we do another session here at our lovely SBC, I would like you all to really put it in your calendar right now when you're going to do it and where. And you're going to go try and have a conversation. You're not going to try and sell anything, no sales pitch. You're going to go try and bump into somebody, and if you can find out their name, life is pretty good. Now, if you fail, way to go. Right? Way to go because you made an effort. And keep doing it until you get it right. Because if you don't bump into people, cold calling's a great option. Right? And I know we're all excited about that, right? So that's your option. It's either marketing or bumping into people as you go through your day or turning around and cold calling. So if you don't like cold calling, you have to have ways you bump into people. You need to perfect the art of stirring conversation. That's the first step to getting to the place where you're talking to someone about something that they really value, because they're not going to trust you until they got a conversation going. You could have the greatest product in the world and they won't trust you enough to hear you if you're pitching them because you haven't earned it. This technique actually applies to social media in a great way, and you will know because if you ever try and sell anything to somebody on a social media setting, it will not work. You have to build a relationship first. So if you meet somebody in a place and you turn around and you get a little ways in the conversation, the next time you come back, there's a certain rule of 3. The third time you meet that individual, their resistance will actually settle and they will actually probably acknowledge you and move forward. So just know that if they're a little bit off, don't push. It's not about pushing. It's just about making it light, making it easy. The second time you meet that individual in the same location, probably a little bit better. And then you go third time, it's like, hi, I recognize you. Your name is Jane, right? Yeah. And then before you know it, that resistance drops after the third time. It really does make a big difference. So slow, steady gets the race won, and you got to seize the opportunity in the lifetime of the opportunity. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Here's what I got. I've got a DVD that talks about building tension. Everybody know what tension is? Right? It's the opposite of pushing. Have you ever had to push a client into buying something and then it's like, ugh, that ugly feeling? Most of us get pushed into a sale. We will want to turn the opposite direction, correct? So you can build it tension, and it adds on to the conversation that we're having here. It's a little bit more advanced material.